Since President Trump took office, we've seen a whirlwind of fascinating news. From backing Bitcoin as a strategic asset to rolling out new policies, the landscape is shifting rapidly. But as someone deeply involved in the financial markets, what really catches my eye are three major moves. Trump's push to bring Greenland under U.S. control, his aggressive tariff war against Canada, and the bid to reclaim control over the Panama Canal. These moves could significantly reshape America's grip on global dominance. And today, I want to dive into what's at play. Recently, the Trump administration openly expressed its desire to acquire Greenland, even hinting at the possibility of sending troops there. Now, as you probably know, Greenland is a Danish territory. But despite being under Danish rule, it's not exactly brimming with Danes. The land itself is quite intriguing. The name Greenland suggests a lush green paradise, but in reality, it's anything but. Ironically, Iceland is actually far more habitable than Greenland. There's an old tale that the names were swapped intentionally. Greenland was named to lure settlers while discouraging them from Iceland. Over the centuries, various groups, from the Vikings to European settlers, attempted to inhabit Greenland. But nature had other plans. When the Little Ice Age hit, farming became impossible, and most settlers perished. Those who survived were primarily indigenous people, resembling the Inuit. Even today, the population of Greenland consists of a small indigenous community rather than Danes. So why is Trump eyeing what seems like a frozen wasteland? On the surface, people talk about Greenland's untapped rare earth minerals and its potential for development. But I believe there's more beneath the surface. Reports have surfaced that during the Cold War in the 1960s, the U.S. stationed a secret nuclear base under the ice in Greenland. However, as the ice began melting, they had to abandon it, leaving behind nuclear waste that is now a looming environmental headache. But in my view, Trump's ambitions for Greenland are fundamentally tied to climate change. It's not just about rare earth minerals, it's about securing strategic space. As I've mentioned before in other video, those who control space, both physical and digital, control power. The US already dominates cyberspace, thanks to the predominance of English-language websites and Silicon Valley's internet revolution. Elon Musk's Starlink project is taking control of outer space with a global satellite network. And historically, geography has played a decisive role in shaping global superpowers. As Tim Marshall explained in Power of Geography, the reason the U.S. rose to power in the 20th century was its control over both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Controlling the seas means controlling 70% of the Earth's surface, which is why naval dominance has always been a cornerstone of global power. Today, the U.S. Navy rules the waves, with aircraft carriers stationed across the globe. Historically, this pattern has played out time and again. The first power to grasp the importance of maritime dominance was ancient Greece. While early civilizations thrived along rivers, like Mesopotamia, Egypt, China's Yellow River, and the Indus Valley, land dominance ruled the day. Agricultural wealth fueled national strength, and those with the most fertile land had the upper hand. However, this changed with Greece, which mastered the sea. Using a network of islands and small ships, they established trade routes and built an empire. The Phoenicians gave them the alphabet, facilitating communication, while maritime trade became the lifeblood of their economy. This advantage later passed to Rome, which, by controlling the Mediterranean, defeated Carthage and expanded its empire. Then came the age of exploration. The Portuguese and Spanish, with their triangular sails, conquered the high seas, followed by the Dutch and the British. The British Empire reached its peak by ruling over half the world's land and sea. But their dominance came crashing down during World War II, when they leaned on the U.S. for military support. In exchange, America took over key naval bases, shifting the balance of power permanently. The post-war world saw the rise of air power. Whoever controlled the skies had the upper hand, which is why aircraft carriers and island air bases became essential. The U.S. solidified its naval dominance by acquiring strategic locations, most notably Hawaii and Alaska. Hawaii, much like ancient Sicily in the Mediterranean, became the linchpin of American power in the Pacific. Alaska, bought from Russia, also played a crucial role. These acquisitions gave the U.S. complete control over the Pacific, allowing them to stretch their influence all the way to the Indian Ocean. In Top Gun, there's a scene where American fighter jets engage Soviet aircraft over the Indian Ocean. That moment isn't just cinematic flair, it's a snapshot of U.S. naval supremacy. But now, a new challenge has emerged. The U.S. originally controlled the Panama Canal, but later handed it over to Panama. Fast forward to today, and China has gained significant operational control over it. The canal, once an American stronghold, is now in the hands of a strategic rival. From Washington's perspective, it's like letting a pickpocket control your wallet. No wonder Trump is saying, "Give it back." BlackRock's recent attempt to acquire operational rights to the canal wasn't just a business move. It was a geopolitical power play. Now let's talk about the Arctic. Traditionally, shipping routes have avoided the Arctic because of year-round ice. Russia's obsession with Crimea, for example, stems from its desperate need for warm water ports. But as climate change accelerates, the ice is melting, and new shipping routes through the Arctic are becoming viable. If this trend continues, we could see the dawn of the Arctic Age. In that scenario, the biggest winners would be Russia and Canada, as they have the longest Arctic coastlines. This explains why Trump has been pressuring Canada, proposing half-jokingly that it become the 51st U.S. state. The U.S. is also wary of China's influence in Canada, particularly through mass immigration. And then there's Greenland, the ultimate wildcard. If the U.S. secures Greenland, it gains a strategic foothold that complements its existing assets in Alaska. Much like how it annexed Hawaii, the U.S. could encourage Greenland's independence from Denmark and then push for its eventual statehood. It might sound far-fetched, but history suggests otherwise. The U.S. has a track record of expanding its territory through economic deals, whether by buying land from France, Russia, or Mexico. For Trump administration, acquiring Greenland without war would be a dream come true, a win-win scenario in their eyes. On March 4, 2025, during his first address to Congress in his second term, President Trump delivered a 100-minute speech outlining 4 key priorities: rescuing the American economy, ensuring national security, protecting American children, and strengthening the military. A critical highlight was his announcement of the Golden Missile Defense Shield, a domestically produced missile defense system to safeguard the U.S. homeland. He also declared his intent to revive America's shipbuilding industry, promising tax incentives to accelerate production. Notably, he specifically mentioned Greenland and the Panama Canal, underscoring their importance to national and global security. As I've laid out today, these moves aren't just random policy decisions. They are strategic plays with far-reaching consequences. Over the next 4 years, we're in for a seismic shift, not just economically, but geopolitically. The real battle ahead is for control of the Arctic and its emerging trade routes. The key players, America, Russia, China, Canada, and Denmark, are gearing up for a high-stakes game. Stay tuned, because history is unfolding before our eyes. And the global stock market, including the U.S., may face such extreme volatility that predicting its course won't be a walk in the park. But with the mindset that every cloud has a silver lining, staying focused and investing wisely could provide individuals with a golden opportunity to build wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.